because Carolina just took a quadrant 3 loss today in Chapel Hill. Stanford on a game winner from Jalen Blake. That had to be sweet. Maxime Renault with 25 points, 13 rebounds. Cardinals 72, UNC 71. Jeff, what happened? And now what for Hubert Davis?
In Jackson didn't show up. Today it was Ian Jackson instead of in. And that's a big difference for this Carolina team. Let's be honest. They need in Jackson, the one that when he shoots it, it goes through the net. And when they don't get that, it just puts too much pressure on RJ Davis and some of the bigs. And let's face it, I mean, Maxime Renault absolutely destroyed them, which is no surprise because Carolina's bigs, as we've talked about ad nauseum this year, they're not good enough. They're not good enough. So again, you need so much from your small lineup, which I give Hubert credit for. He's gone that route, but they just don't have enough. And again, I hate to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. At some point, we've got to start the conversation of what is going on with Hubert Davis in Carolina. It's up, down, it's like a roller coaster that these Tar Heels fans have been on since Hubert took over, right? I mean, you were down, then obviously the last month of his first season, they catch fire, they go to the national title game. Year 2 is a complete, calamity. They go nowhere. They're under, I think they were 500 in league play. Last year was awesome, and this year is, they don't even look like a tournament team again, and that's not good enough. I mean, going to the tournament every other year in Chapel Hill, Carolina, the fact of the matter is that is not good enough, and that's not going to be good enough unless Bill Belichick absolutely dominates on the football field, and maybe that'll kind of get people not worrying as much about what Hubert's not doing on the court.
Yeah. So you said I don't know what's happened with Hubert in North Carolina. The first year he had the talent and they didn't catch fire until the end, right? The second year they tried to run it back and there were very obvious chemistry issues. It didn't work. The third year he got the chemistry issues right. And he had a team with talented guards, with good veteran wings, and a 5-man that you could throw the ball to and could clean up the glass, right? He could end possessions in Armando Bacot. And then this year, I'd argue you probably got the chemistry right. Those dudes are still out there playing hard. I don't think that this is an issue of an inability to get along or pass the ball to each other or teammates not liking each other. I just think they don't have any interior presence. The problem this year, and we've hit it over and over and over again, they didn't go on getting the 5 that they needed, right? And I still think that they have enough to be a threat this year. But this loss is incredibly damaging for a number of different reasons. The most of which is that their best losses, right, or their best wins right now over Dayton doesn't look as good as it did 3 weeks ago. Over UCLA doesn't look as good as it did 3 weeks ago, right? So now you're in a situation where you have to start stacking up quality wins in league play. And to be frank, there's really only 2 of those opportunities right now for you. It's Duke and it's Duke. So you got to win at least one of those.
At Clemson, you got to win that one. You have to.
Yeah, at Clemson too. But that'll look good on your resume. But is that moving? Are you sitting there saying, "Wow, North Carolina won at Clemson. No. We got to put this team in the tournament." It's a nice win for your resume. But the only opportunity that you're going to have to do something where it's going to make all of us say, "Whoa, what did Carolina just do?" is to go out and beat Duke one of the 2 times, and that's kind of where they are right now. In their beforehand, if you didn't have the quad 3 loss, it's very easy to overlook the fact that they don't have a lot of quality wins. Oh, they only lost to teams that are sitting here. They're either top 15 on KenPom or they're Louisville, who has all of a sudden caught fire the last couple of weeks, right? Very easy to kind of make an argument for their resume without the top tier wins. It's a lot more difficult to do that when you got a quad 3 loss to Stanford at home, who, by the way, Stanford's got to make 4 trips across the country. Right? Their trips across the country, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong here, it's on a 37-seat plane where they got to stop twice each direction to be able to get gas. It's like a 9-hour trip, and that's who you just lost to? That's going to be a fun 9 hours, I'll tell you that much. They're going to be partying on that plane. They may not be able to fit Maxime Renault.
But you think Maxime parties? I think he's reading a book right now on the way back.
He's very smart.
Some people consider that a party, Jeff. For some people, that is a party. Not all of us are degenerates. He says as he sips a gin on the rocks.
There it is. First of all, the first thing I'm going to take away is number one, Stanford won at Carolina and Cal won at NC State. So I don't ever want to hear about a coach going across the country in the conference play. You all know who you are, complaining about the travel and how hard life is, because the Mad Dog's having a tough go at it, and he ain't complaining. He just beat Kevin Keats today in Raleigh. So I don't want to hear about it. Number two, you're talking about Carolina and them beating Duke once. They aren't even remotely close to Duke. Weird things can happen in a rivalry game. They aren't beating Cooper, Flag, and Duke. 2 of their next 3 games are at Wake and at Pitt. If I could bet my life savings that they would lose one of those games, I would. This team's not consistent. You don't know what you're getting game to game. And the ACC
you can do that. You go to BetMGM. You can
bet
your life savings.
I'm not going to do that. But BetMGM is a proud sponsor of the Field 68. Use code FIELD. And please, bet responsibly, but use BetMGM.
Great promo.
Here's the deal, Jeff. This is, when it smells like it, when it looks like it, when it tastes like it, it is it. If this team weren't named North Carolina, we likely either wouldn't have them in the field or just barely in the field on Monday's bracket show, which I'm fascinated to see what our genius bracketologists do on Monday. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit,
but Jeff, in the field. Yeah, they'll be in the field.
Okay.
They'll still, I think they're barely in. Oh, I think
it'll be close. It'll be close.
Barely be in. Okay, so let's say they're in the first 4 even. No, you're right. Listen, the bottom line is, even if they get in the tournament this year, okay, even let's say they get in and get knocked out in the first round, that's not enough. Again, this is North Carolina. They've got money. They've got tradition. You should be able to get players. And again, their staff did not do a good job getting bigs in the portal. Period. They missed on some guys. We know that. But you got to figure it out. And I know you probably have to overpay for those bigs, and they didn't want to do it for some of them. But ultimately, you got to find the right guys, because there's certainly other teams out there that went that route.
For bigs.
Yeah, they listen. They either had to overpay, or you have to evaluate better. One or the other.
We'll get to Arkansas in a second. I just want to make one real quick point, right?
That's where we're going next. Go ahead. Yeah.
When I say that North Carolina doesn't have a big, and that's why they're struggling this year, that is not to sit here and excuse the staff because they don't have a big. They're the ones that put this roster together. It's their fault that there is not that big man. There's that fault.
Right. It's not Ben Allen Libman's fault. He was put in a situation that he should not be in at North Carolina.